The Supreme Court on Tuesday refused to intervene in a plea by P. Rajagopal, the proprietor of Saravana Bhavan hotel chain, for extension of time to surrender in a case of murder of his employee 18 years ago. Rajagopal was supposed to surrender on July 7 as per a March 2019 judgment of the Supreme Court, holding him guilty in the case and sentencing him to life imprisonment. Rajagopal had sought further extension of his stay at a private hospital on medical grounds. If he was so ill, why did he not choose to indicate the same during the hearing of his appeal here? Justice N.V. Ramana asked senior advocate Kapil Sibal, who appeared for Rajagopal, on Tuesday. No more adjournments now. Justice Mohan Mazia Shantanagoda, on the bench, observed orally. The employee, Santakumar, was strangled and his body dumped in Tiger Shola forest area by Rajagopal's henchmen. Rajagopal wanted to make Santakumar's wife, Jeevajyoti, his third wife. The Supreme Court had concluded that the steadfast testimonies of Jeevajyoti and her family, the circumstantial evidence, recovery of personal items, such as the wallet and a gold chain of the victim, along with forensic techniques such as the superimposition test to identify the body, undoubtedly pointed to the guilt of Rajagopal and his henchmen. All of them had appealed in the Supreme Court after the Madras High Court had convicted and sentenced him to undergo life imprisonment. The prosecution has proved the complicity of all the appellants in murdering Santakumar by strangulating him and thereafter throwing the body at Tiger Shola. A three-judge bench of Justices N.V. Ramana, Mohan Mazia Shanta Jodar and Indra Banerjee held, dismissing their appeals. The body was identified by Jeevajyoti. The photographs of the victim, his clothes and a scar on his body fully proved that the body was that of Santakumar. The court concluded. Besides, the police used three different methods: video superimposition, visual observation and dental trait superimposition. They all matched. Justice Shantangodar, who wrote the judgment, said someone who is guilty cannot get away with impunity only because the truth may develop some infirmity when projected through human processes. The body of Santakumar was found in the Kodaikanal range in October 2001. It was buried in the Kodaikanal municipal burial ground. Later, the body was identified to be that of Santakumar and a charge sheet filed for offences under Sections 302, murder, 364, abduction, and 201, destruction of evidence, of the IPC, following which the alleged conspiracy came to light. The Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are set to hold a general discussion on the Union Budget 2019. Home Minister Amit Shah will move a motion to elect 20 members of the House to constitute a Committee on Official Language to review the progress made in the use of Hindi for the official purposes of the Union and submit a report to the President. On Monday, the Parliament passed an amendment bill allowing voluntary use of Aadhaar as proof of identity for users to open bank accounts and get mobile phone connection. Introduced in Lok Sabha on June 24, the Aadhaar and Other Laws Amendment Bill 2019 was passed by Rajya Sabha by a voice vote. E.T. Mohammad Bashir speaks about sea erosion in Kerala. The IUML member asks for financial assistance from the centre. Papers are laid on the table. Speaker disallows adjournment notices by opposition members on the political crisis in Karnataka. Opposition benches rise up in protest. 0 hour begins. Kumvarali of the BSP asks the government about mob lynching. Shouts of "We want justice" are heard in the House. CPI member Mazia Salvra speaks next. Sumithanand Saraswati speaks about muscular dystrophy. Speaker warns members not to bring placards into the House. A member responds that it is their right, but Speaker says it is against the rules. Prahlad Joshi, Minister, Parliamentary Affairs, reads out from the rule book. He says the centre does not have any role in what is happening in Karnataka. Speaker says that the dignity of the House should be held. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary says that rebel MLAs have cars ready as they exit Raj Bhavan, citing this as an instance of poaching politics. House reconvenes. Members immediately troop to the well. Deputy Speaker Harivansh adjourns the House till 2 p.m. On Fasal Bima Yojana, YSRCP MP Raghu Raju asks about insurance premiums in Fasal Bima Yojana. Is there any proposal to pay full insurance premium to the farmer? He asks. The scheme, right now, pays only half the premium this year. Purushottam Rupala, MOS, Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, says the PM Fasal Bima Yojana is looking at the risk management of farmers. Mr. Raju follows up with a question about the formula adopted when setting minimum support prices. As suggested by the Swaminathan Committee, is the government considering the suggestion? He asks. The suggestion has already been taken into consideration, replies Mr. Rupala. On farmers' suicides, Supriya Shule asks how the government will reduce the cost of cultivation for farmers and reduce farmers' suicides, though it is a state subject. What intervention is the centre planning? She asks. A member asks about waiving of farm loans. Minister says that it is not necessary to politicize farmers' suicides. Gaurav Gogoi asks how many farmers died by suicide, adding that the minister's answer does not specify that, even though that was the question. He asks why there is no record of this. Mr. Rupala says that states have yet to give this data to the centre. On cold chain infrastructure, Minister of Food Processing Harsimrat Kaur Badal answers questions regarding cold chain infrastructure. Hina Gavit from Nandurbar talks about how the farmers in her constituency are unable to store perishable items and end up selling them at a less than optimal prices. She asks Ms. Badal if there will be any assistance from the ministry regarding this. My ministry is involved in setting up an entire cold chain infrastructure, not just standalone facilities. Grants are available to anyone who wants to apply, says Ms. Badal. To a question about the development of facilities at an agro park, Ms. Badal says the state government had not finished the project yet, but the ministry will be happy to help. On PM Jan Aushadhi scheme, Mansukh Mandavya, MOS, Chemicals and Fertilizer lists out a number of generic medicines for which the government capped prices under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi scheme. He says cardiac medicines that are retailed at 5 while in the market, it is retailed for 35. YSRCP MP Balli Durga Prasad Rao asks about the allocation and utilization of funds made to the District Rural Development Agencies, DRDAs, during the last 3 years, state-wise including the district-wise details of Andhra Pradesh. He says the central government should waive the debt of the farmers. Both houses convene. Papers are laid on the table in the Rajya Sabha. While Lok Sabha begins question hour, the Minister of Chemicals and Fertilizers takes questions on branded and generic medicines. In Rajya Sabha, Health Minister Harshvardhan moves a motion for election to All India Institute of Medical Sciences in several cities across the country. Rajya Sabha adjourns till 12 noon after members troop into the well of the House. A member of the House tried to raise the developments in Karnataka for discussion, a matter that had already been brought up. We are scheduled to discuss the budget today. You cannot bring this up without permission, says Chairman Venkaiah Naidu, and adjourns the House. The crucial Congress Legislature Party meeting to discuss the strategy following the resignations of 13 MLAs belonging to the Congress and Janata Dal Secular began in Bangalore on Tuesday, July 9, 2019. The Speaker, on Saturday, promised to initiate the process on Tuesday by calling all MLAs, speaking to them, and then taking a decision. The rebel MLAs are expected to meet the Speaker on Tuesday morning. They would, however, not be attending the Congress legislature party meeting. Sources claimed. Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, on Monday, held a meeting with the Art of Living founder and Indian spiritual leader Sri Ravi Shankar at the Miraflores Palace. A very beautiful meeting, deeply spiritual, very soulful with this man, a guru of peace and truths. I thank you. We have been talking for an hour and a half talking about peace. The strength of dialogue. I thank you for your visit to Venezuela, Mr. Maduro said. He indicated that the peace ambassador showed his disposition with his methods of meditation to help Venezuela carry out peace through the practice of non-violence, to help our country to rediscover itself. To the National Union, the national president stressed that both parties agreed that the Hindu humanitarian leader should support the processes of dialogue and peace with the Venezuelan opposition, as well as helped Colombia, the FARC guerrillas and the government. The Hindu leader leads a global movement for a society free of stress and violence through a variety of programs and teachings. A network of organizations including Art of Living and International Association for Human Values, with a presence in 156 countries. A California man pleaded guilty on Monday to sneaking into a zoo after hours and stealing the oldest living ring-tailed lemur in North American captivity to keep the rare animal as a pet. Aquinas Casper, 19, admitted before U.S. District Judge Andrew Guilford to using bolt cutters on July 27 of last year to cut a hole in the enclosures for lemurs and capuchin monkeys at the Santa Ana Zoo in order to steal 32-year-old Isaac. According to court documents, Casper abandoned the animal in a plastic drawer with no ventilation the next day in front of a hotel in Newport Beach, south of Los Angeles. He left a note saying that the lemur, which is on the list of the 25 most endangered primates and whose lifespan typically is 20 to 25 years, belonged to the zoo and should be taken to police. Isaac was eventually returned unharmed to the zoo. Casper faces 1 year in prison and a $100,000 fine at his sentencing on October 28. Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam said on Tuesday the extradition bill that sparked the territory's biggest political crisis in decades was dead, admitting that the government's work on the bill had been a total failure. The bill, which would have allowed people in Hong Kong to be sent to mainland China to face trial, sparked huge and at times violent street protests and plunged the former British colony into turmoil. In mid-June, Lam responded to huge protests by suspending the bill. But that move failed to mollify critics, who continued to demonstrate against the bill and call for Lam's resignation. Hong Kong was returned to China from Britain in 1997. Lawmakers must pass legislation easing abhorrent conditions facing children held at the southern border, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Monday as she tried taking the offensive on an issue that badly split Democrats and has raised questions about their unity on other issues. Ms. Pelosi, Democrat California, tried rallying Democrats against a common foe Republicans led by President Donald Trump less than 2 weeks after a $4.6 billion border bill drove a bitter rift into her party. Although the measure passed Congress easily and became law, many House progressives and Hispanics voted no because they said the measure lacked real controls on how the government must handle children, while the party moderates and senators said the measure was the best compromise they could craft. With the go-run Senate, in a letter to colleagues returning from an 11-day 4th of July recess, Ms. Pelosi said Democrats must lead a battle cry across America to protect the children, with input from agencies.